good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world of darkness, and welcome to Rage Across New York, a werewolf venue where a certain princess is called to a big tree from the denfather because, yeah, he's been very busy and apparently cubs are popping everywhere. Like, wow, it's must be spring, but it's winter. Makes no sense. Goddamn hobbits. So yeah, she probably hears a howl across the sept saying that she needs to come to the shrine of Uktena, which is near one of the lakes that are in the sept. And she probably might have seen that there is near this part there is a big tree with markings on the tree and a Native American totem not very far, which is known to be Kotori's territory.
Oh, very well. Considering that she got something of a proper tour as of the previous day, she shouldn't have too much difficulty finding the place. She may well be a little puzzled by the howling process initially, but with someone calling her attention to it, she will hurriedly move to respond, especially when asking questions of most likely Travis yields the response that, oh yeah, that's the denfather. She will come running. Because it is about time that she learned things from people who were supposed to teach things.
Kotori will be chilling near his tree, and he has food, raw food, of course, and
Like
he's
you do.
chewing, waiting for you to arrive.
No, he'll hear her coming. She's not as clumsy as some humans are. She has run through the woods a good bit as a younger adult, but she comes hauling ass, happy as you please. Though she will slow down as she gets nearer and look about and perhaps out of habit be expecting a Hamid,
Mm-hmm.
but once she gets two and two put together, she'll bob her head and unless she's bid otherwise, come to a seat nearby to let him finish eating.
He looks at her general direction, most certainly sensing the pure breed, like a mile away. He he doesn't say anything. He just eats, and actually finishing. He's not finishing, and he takes a few steps back, and he just sits, wait. Basically, there's Kotori, there's the ham, and then there's you, and he's just waiting.
She'll perhaps take a moment to catch on, just because she assumed perhaps that he was stepping back and pausing to speak. So she'll look kind of attentive and actually is totally not vibrating with excitement. Totally not. But after a moment, she'll realize, oh, wait, he's not talking. Oh, oh, oh! Like it dawns across her face very visibly. And presuming she's allowed to take a moment to do so, she will slowly, carefully work her way through to her lupus form.
Mm-hmm.
Like so. And then slowly approach with what she has learned to recognize, having handled a number of animals, as what she understands to be deferential, submissive sort of posture, ears flicked back a little bit, tail lowered. And actually, the closer she gets, almost drop to the point, not a full slink, but there's a slight crouch involved. And assuming there's no like snapping or anything, will take a couple bites worth. She has had breakfast, but she's not going to refuse a kind gesture.
He waits. He waits a little bit, and he just he looks, and he starts to when she finishes, he starts to circle around her, sniffing the air, and as he approach, uh, does he looks at her straight in the eye. So what does she do when he does that? You can make an animal ken if you want.
Oh, I don't have shit for animal ken, but
You can make
she
an intelligence roll.
I can do that. That's good because these things at the very least there will still be a pause because of habit. Oh wait. Ha! Just barely.
Ah! So it takes you, a few seconds to register, but you probably remember, maybe you had a dog or you had
Yeah.
friends who had dog, but
She
you know
probably
that.
had like farm dogs. So yeah, it's one of those things where he'll start circling and she'll kind of sit, and as he's circling around, she will initially have a very attentive sort of expression and meet his gaze and have her ears perked forward and obviously like more of a domestic canine's listening pose. But after a moment, especially if the gaze gains in intensity, she'll be like, "Oh shit!" and drop her muzzle abruptly and flick the ears back down.
And as he sees that, he approach and he nibbles her neck as of course a sign of acceptance and dominance. And after that, he uh, he takes a step back and he say, "Well, at least I won't have to bite you. That's a thing."
Well, that's good. I hear that's kind of a trend.
Oh, really?
It just seems like every time I express fear of a problem, the general solution to said problem is immediate violence. Or a suggestion that perhaps if I applied more violence to the problem. I don't think I've heard anything since I got here from most of the people except for threats to punch someone in the throat, face, or dick for me. It's
You've met Kel even.
I've met many people,
Mm. And
and that seems to be how most of them solve their problems.
yeah, they're dum dums, and he pats you on the head like good girl.
He says "dum dum" as a wolf.
Yeah,
That's
he says dum
fabulous.
dums. Uh, so you at least know a little bit, even if a little bit slow. You know how to handle being around Lupus born. That's actually a plus. It's actually a plus. Like most of the time, I have to explain to them that no, looking at me in the eye is not a good idea.
And don't smile.
Good, good. Oh, well. Oh, actually, that's not good because Smiles would have been sad with you.
Oh.
He liked people to make mistakes, so he could frighten them and bite them on the ankles. But anyway, um, he he looks at you and say, "Well, I'm going to make introductions. I am Kotori Rides the Waves, Uktena Feared, Born on Four Legs, Guardian, Denfather, and Alpha of the Hunters of the Lost, and Foster." still in my Hydron challenge, but anyway, who might you be?
She takes a second and kind of shakes her head as if it's just a rain of titles and things, and so she's like obviously trying to process as many of them as she can. So there's a brief pause before, oh, I am Maeve McFeon and a Theurge, I guess. And I don't know about anything else. And she like wilts a little.
he kind of chuckles a little bit, and he says, "So you don't know you were born on two legs? That's
Oh,
kind of sad,
that.
actually."
No, I know that part. No one's actually made the difference on that yet. No one's actually included that bit, I don't think. Or if they did, I didn't know the words they were using.
Well, well then let's start. Generally, you start with your name, which you did, which is good. You then go giving your breed. Um, if you were born human, like on two legs, or I'm a Hamid, or I'm a silly Hamid, things like that, they work. You can say you're a Metis, but you're not a Metis. So, don't go around saying you're a Metis. And you can also say that you were lupus born. Then generally you say you're auspice. So you say that you're apparently a Theurge. You're not
Yes?
sure, or are you
Oh,
sure?
I I'm trying to remember the right word for the right moon. I
Hmm.
think that's the right word for the crescent moon. So,
Yes, it is.
yes. She
Hmm.
looks very pleased with herself.
Then, well, you can say your tribe. And you just, well, at least with you, I won't have to ask questions later unless you have an illumination. I would say that you will be a fianna.
I'm
But
pretty sure that's the best way to avoid an international incident.
might be. And then you will be given a name, a deed name by others. Don't do silly things because people tend to give silly names. Um, we had all his fault, all his fault. What did we had? We had Royal Dick. Yes, Xavier was named Royal Dick at some point. So I would say don't do stupid things. Otherwise, people will make fun of you by giving you a silly name to make you never forget that you did a stupid thing. Mm. But then, yeah, they are. And he thinks, I guess I'm not going to have to explain to you what an alpha is,
That one
but
I can get.
yes. Um, Guardian. Guardian is a position in the Sept. It's the role of the defenders. We defend the Sept, and we're under the command of the Warder and the Wormfoe when the Warder is not there. And as for denfather, well, I'm going to give you a guess. Uh, this is my den, and he just points to the tree with a big hole in it. And I'm not technically a father, but you're like all my cubs, and it's not like I have a choice. You're you're my responsibility. And there's so much of you. Like, wow. Can you can someone explain to me like why all of you decided to wake up at the same time? Like
Just
really?
lucky? That or did you
Yeah.
maybe when you've recently lost a lot of people, more of us come out?
Hmm. It would be kind of interesting and sad at the same time.
Hmm.
I'll have to think about it.
Awkward wolf shrug. This is not a natural motion. She can't help it though.
All right. So, um, who? Well, I guess you've met people, as you said, but who exactly have you met, and the people actually try to help you to understand things, how things works?
Well, I've been ambushed by everyone ever, but
Yeah, that's normal.
um, Olaf has taught me the litany,
Ah,
and
yes, good Olaf.
the first night that I was here, I stayed in his cabin, and then Travis wanted me very much to move to the Fianna castle, and so I did.
He's going to say, cough a little bit. No, it is.
Eh. And Travis, I think he's trying, but
Mhm.
he is a very whimsical sort of man, so he is not very good at. He's very good at talking, and he can make a point, but I
Bruh.
wouldn't say he's very good at teaching.
He just he kind of chuckles, and he his physical demeanor changed a little bit. He takes a very smug way, and he goes like, bruh, like, bruh, 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 yeah, bruh, things are tough, and it's hard to be bruh. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Well, that and he seems to be under a geas right now that forces him to speak in reverse, and that makes it even
Oh,
more difficult,
oh yes,
especially when he figures out a trick,
not bruh.
and it works for most of his sentences, so he can talk mostly normal as long as he calls me Emmett. But then if he doesn't call me Emmett, he has to reverse the sentence, and I yelled at him because I didn't understand what he was saying a couple times. Um,
Mm.
and then I don't know if it's supposed to be a bad thing, but do you know Lucas?
He
He
takes
is
a
a
very
kinfolk.
he takes a very serious face. Yes, I know Lucas.
He,
He was, well, I should actually go and see him, considering that uh, Moon Quiet Thoughts, uh, Quiet Thoughts is not there anymore, so she can't really take care of him. I should actually check how he's going.
that would actually be very good if you actually care for him, because he can tell that people are suspicious of him, and it has made him worse and worse. But I worked on it last night. I did good. But he actually taught me more than everyone else put together has taught me,
Mm,
because he is one of the only people who has come to me and talked to me like a normal person would talk to another normal person. He has come to me and greeted me and gotten to know me briefly, and then answered my questions and explained things to me at just a natural pace. But everyone else comes to me and starts talking about something that's 3 steps ahead of the last word I learned, and it doesn't work out very well. But Lucas has been
mm,
very kind about answering my questions. We hit it off pretty good the first night I was here.
mm. Is in a very particular position, one that I don't really envy. He has the problem of being the kinfolk of one who
Alan.
has turned on Gaia. So
Yes.
people get suspicious, as Travis explained to you, why people might be suspicious of Lucas.
I asked him to list the actual legitimate things that Lucas did that made him suspicious, and many of them were things like, "Oh, well, he likes dove spirits." And I was like, "Well, aren't dove
No,
spirits tied to the unicorn? Doesn't that kind of make sense if he's a child of Gaia?"
he puts a hand, a paw on your muzzle,
Oh,
like,
she stops.
nope. Lesson number two: when there's an elder with you, and he actually, well, if he interrupts you, generally let him speak, as some feel very traditional about the litany and the respect of authority. I don't really care, as you're a cub and you need to learn. Just wanted to make you aware of that certain people might take a slight. offense to people interrupting them, even if they interrupt other people. And he just put his paw away and yep.
She does a little muzzle bobble while it's still sitting on her nose, like, gotcha, bro. Um, but it, yes, sorry. But it seems to be a series of traits that are very generic traits.
Mm,
Like, Alan could paint and Lucas can draw. And Alan, I guess, acted
mm,
paranoid. I don't know about
mm,
that, but Lucas is paranoid because of the process of when he was fetched back when Alan fell. And
He has 2 legs. He has fingers. He has eyes also.
that seems
I
to be
see the
about
idea.
the shape of it.
Uh, he makes a pause. Then I'm going to explain to you in words that probably you might not fully understand. But at some point, there was a Garu of the Shadowlord tribe. He went into the city, and at some point he went missing and came back. Except he wasn't a Shadowlord anymore. In fact, he was dead. There was a black spiral dancer. Have anyone explained to you what is a black spiral dancer?
That was going to be my question. Travis mentioned it, but he doesn't explain things very well.
Okay. Hmm.
He
Then
said that they
I
were
will.
evil guru.
Yeah, that's the simplest way to put it. And he said, "I will explain." But basically, he came back. It was a black spiral dancer wearing the skin of this Garu, and we weren't able to detect through our classical means that he was not who he claimed he was. And we spent a lot of months with him until it was revealed to me that there was someone who was wearing the skin of another werewolf in the sept, where we and that this one was a shadow lord. So that's when we actually found a gift, a ritual from another tribe to help us to see the truth. What Travis has difficulty to explain to you is that he fears that when Alan went spiral, he might have taken the skin of Lucas and is masquerading as Lucas. This is what he fears and what he tries to justify by saying he acts like Alan and things like that. This is the reason why he is suspicious. He has no proof that Lucas might be Alan wearing Lucas' skin, or if Lucas still has contact with Alan. But right now, this is really what he fears, that Lucas is not really Lucas, but Alan in disguise. This is what he fears.
Well, he
So,
mentioned it,
mhm,
but I if that was something that you were afraid of, wouldn't somebody have checked a long time
mhm,
ago? I also thought that when Ellen fell, and I may be mixed up on how the story goes,
mhm,
but I thought that when Ellen fell and so many people died was when they went to collect all the kinfolk,
mhm.
and
That's why I ordered.
that was when Lucas actually became distrustful, was because he was told, you will come with us or we will make you come with us. And so if Alan was falling while people were out collecting Lucas, how could they be the same person?
Hmm. True, true. But mm, I think that Travis should realize that he just needs to he just did out of character. I know that Andrew and I have been very busy, but um, he should actually go and see Kachina and Aaron, his alpha, because Aaron is the one who knows the right uh, the gift to do it. So, if he feels suspicious, Kelly, my packmate, she has said that she would not spy on Lucas. I am more pragmatic in this aspect. I can understand wanting to be careful, but I'm more actually puzzled by the fact that you tell me that he was threatened when uh, when those who I sent were Ren, um, Quiet Thoughts, the Children of Gaia Menace, who is in my pack, and I don't think she would really resort to such means. And he thinks, unless Book, well, Book was an Arun, so maybe. I will need to talk to Lucas about this because I know he trusted, or he is very good at hiding it. But I know he trusts Ren,
He does.
so yeah, I don't really know who would have threatened him, but I will need to make some light on this problem.
Yes, I got the impression that it was something to do with being threatened, and then the people that he had traveled with back when I guess,
Mm-hmm.
when Alan was still their guardian, the
Mm.
kin he traveled with, some of them had children and were approached by Krynos and became scared, and a fuss came out of that. And then there was another couple who were never even hunted down and disappeared. And this is why he has his trust issues. So he's a little shifty and likes to stay out of sight. So Travis has decided that him wanting to stay out of sight means that he's up to something. And I tried to explain it, and he just talks in a giant circle.
Kosori put a paw on his face, like, oh, fucking Krynos, really?
Yep.
Okay, I really need to talk to Lucas.
But I helped. I
And
did a
he
thing
he
last
looks,
night.
he squints his eyes. You helped in what way?
I got set on fire. We were.
What?
Well, my. Did they tell you about my first change?
No, but I would very much like to hear about it.
Uh, I was. The other stuff really isn't important. What happened was I was out doing things that are normal for me, and I began to hear giggling, and I couldn't see anything. And I might like my fantasy books too much, so I was convinced it was a fairy. And then I saw a face in the water in a puddle, and it said, "Come play with me." So I figured I had some time, so I came over to the puddle and it giggled from further away, and I followed it, and it led me into the park, and I came to this closed in little grove with this deep puddle in it, and it said that it was the water, it was the streams, the rivers, the oceans, and it said it wanted to play with me again, but it couldn't do it here. So I touched the water and I passed through, and then I was in the Umbra, and
Mm-hmm.
they said it was a water spirit. I still thought it
Mm.
was some kind of fairy. It's very like the fairy books are, with them being
Mm.
playful and whimsical and whatnot. So
Uh, Water spirit are, and he just, whimsical. Like it's a word he hasn't even heard yet. They are whatever you say. They are
yeah.
playful, very playful.
So I came out. I came through, and it was very happy, and it said, "Chase me." So I chased it, and we were
Mm-hmm.
running, and we went through these two tall trees with lots of doves in them, and they all flew out. And then there was a pack of wolves and wolf people with machine guns chasing me. And then
Mm.
I ran a lot harder. And I so I ran harder and I tried to run further and I tried to lengthen my strides and push off harder. And I guess at some point while I was running from them, I shifted and the water spirit, I guess, didn't want to play with them, so it just kind of took off. But they kept chasing me, so I ran until I ran out of green, and then I started running into the city. And then I decided that was a really bad idea because there were giant robot spiders, and I ran out of the city, but I didn't make it all the way out, and I hid under. What's his name? Is it Kachina?
Katrina, yes. Um, native
Yes.
Katrina.
So I was running, and he got me to finally slow down and stop. He caught up to me, and we stopped, and he was talking to me about leaving. And then there were more giant robot spiders, and then I hid under him until they went away. And that was it. They brought me back. Someone went and got my things, but there was no fighting, there was no blood, there was nothing, and apparently that's weird.
Well, you're lucky. Uh, if you want to see unlucky, you can talk to Emmett.
Yeah, there was a whole series of, well, you should have heard about my first change. Oh, don't tell her about that. You'll scare the crap out of her. That was pretty much my first night.
Yeah, well, and he he takes a very kind of in between, very serious look and playful look. Well, I'm not going to tell you about mine because you would be freaked out.
Oh, probably. But
Yep.
either way, I was very lucky, and Lucas said
Mm,
that I was several times blessed for that. And then, well, I liked being in the Umbra, and I had liked
mhm,
seeing the spirits. And so the night that I stayed at the Fianna Castle, well, the first night I stayed in Olaf's cabin,
mhm,
and what Lucas did was I had been asleep and he snuck in, and I just thought it was normal for people to wake up and have a random person cooking them breakfast. So he made breakfast and then we sat and talked. And then the second night I stayed at the castle
mhm,
and we talked a lot more. Uh, but at one point, he encouraged me to very carefully step sideways and just stay in the room because in the Fianna Castle, everything was pretty friendly. So I did, and I even made a deal with my fire. But uh, we did that, and I got pretty comfortable with the idea. And then later, I did it again to feed the ravens with
mhm,
Travis. And then I put a lot of thought into the lake. And then at one point, we went to the conservatory and I stepped sideways there in one of the little groves where there,
mhm,
I think, is an altar to Unicorn. I learned later.
mm,
And it was a lot different. It was very wild. And I thought I saw something, but I didn't see enough of it. I did see the doves, but I wanted to see Unicorn.
mm,
And so last night, instead of having Lucas sneak in, I snuck out and went to the conservatory. And he had fallen asleep in the Umbra in the grove. So I went there and found some of his things and thought, oh, I'll go in and join him because I want to see Unicorn and maybe here where it's dark and quiet and calm, maybe I'll be more likely to see it. So I went into the Umbra and I missed the grove by a little bit. So I had to shift and chase off some snakes because they were trying to bite the crap out of me. And I found the grove and I sat there with him. I changed back and I woke him up and I sat there with him talking while I was sitting and trying to be calm and trying to be composed and hoping to see Unicorn. And we talked a lot more about his past, and he started talking. He was very sleepy, but he started talking about how he felt like because of his life, he was stained and he was dirty and he was beyond fixing, and that if I kept spending my time with him, it would just take me from pure to stained and ruin my reputation and ruin me. So I told him, well, that's pretty silly because I'm pretty sure it works the other way around. And the more time you spend with me, the cleaner I will make your spirit. And it went into a very deep talk while we were there. And I learned about how things that are normally metaphorical become very literal in the Umbra. So
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to him and I was trying to teach him how to let certain things go so that he could heal, so that his spirit could heal. Just like if your body is injured, you have to take out the thing that is hurting you so that your body can start to heal. And he started going a little wild. He was very emotional and he remembered the fire that Alan pulled him out of, and it just started being all he could think about. And then he caught on fire. And I already do this glowing thing, so I reached out and I pulled him into my lap, and he burned the hell out of me. But I pulled him into my lap, and I tried to be a cool, soothing, calm influence so that maybe it would calm the fire. And I had learned how to feed gnosis to spirits, so I thought maybe if I just kind of bled out that energy, that maybe it would help me be cool and cold and calm the fire and stifle it and smother it. And I did manage to, but I did not realize that it reflected in the real world. And I might have, well, I didn't technically set a fire in the conservatory. I did stop a fire in the conservatory, though. But I managed to put out the fire. And then when I realized that Unicorn wasn't something that I just needed to see for myself, but something that I wanted to see because it was something that Lucas had not seen since he was very young, and he believed that it had rejected him or it wasn't real, that it was a way of seeing that. I figured if the unicorn showed up, that it meant that
Mm-hmm.
finally Lucas was in a place where he could see Unicorn and he could heal and he could be better. And at the end, I almost did. I saw a shadow of it, like an
Mm-hmm.
outline, and I spoke to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it said that what I did was a good start to healing him,
Mm.
but that many of its children were still hurting and
Mm.
asked if I would heal them too. And I told it that I would heal the spirits of anyone that needed healing, regardless of their tribe. And after that, it disappeared, but Lucas doesn't
Mm-hmm.
seem to remember a lot of it. But we got back out of the Umbra, and he was very hungry, and I was very tired and kind of burned. But Travis fixed me this morning.
Mm-hmm. Kotori is very silent, and we're going to end this on a cliffhanger, and we will continue the scene a few hours later because I have to go. But he comes near you and he say, "You showed good initiative. That's good." And then he just pats you. He gives you a smack of the muzzle, and that is also for being a dum dum because
She kind of rubs her
do
muzzle.
you don't do those things alone. Things could have gone way worse, way
Well, I
worse.
didn't.
But you showed that you can handle those things. But if you wish to heal, if you wish to heal Lucas, you need help from others who can teach you how to. I'm going to help you, and I believe that Olaf would also help you, or any compassionate
Head bobbles.
soul. Yeah, I mean, he has pork buns. They make you feel better.
Head bobbles.
They, mm, but yes, you should be careful. Also, um, you just most certainly made a promise to Unicorn, so I most certainly advise you to uphold to it because Unicorn will mostly remember it.
Well,
So that's
I
also
meant it.
another lesson. You should be very careful about what you say to the spirits because the spirits they remember, and sometimes their wrath can be
Well,
plenty painful.
I I meant what I said, and
Mm,
it didn't occur to me until then that maybe you could heal the spirit instead of healing the body, but it's what he needed. So
yes.
I meant it. I want to do it.
Mhm. And with that, we can conclude the first part of this scene. Thank you, player, for playing, watcher for watching, and we will catch you next time.